Okay, here is lesson 12 from module 5. So we're supposed to plot the following points in the number line without measuring. So basically they just want us to kind of figure out where things are. So let me see, I can do thirds as I am estimating. Those are about thirds. So that'd be 1/3 and 2/3. And look, there's a third, so there is point I. Um, so for 5/6, I know that sixths are half as big as thirds. And let me see, I know that is 3/6. So 1/6, 2/6. I'm a little bit off on my third there. This would be 4/6. So that would have to be 5/6. So I guess the double I is 5/6. And then 7/12. Twelfths are the ones that come between the sixths, right? So 1/12 would be all the way down here. This would be 12 twelfths, so 11/12. Right there, where's 7/12. 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5/12, 6/12. 6/12 makes sense because that's half. So 7/12. So there's that one. So we've got that one. And this one, and there's a third. So we plotted those 3 points. We didn't measure, we just sort of kind of estimated and used what we knew about fractions to put the things in the right spot. So now use the number line of part A to compare the fractions. Well, now it's pretty easy to see that 7/12 is a little bit more than a half, and 7/12 is less than 5/6, just from where they are on the number line. Number 2, we're going to plot the following points without measuring, and I already kind of figured out, well, my fourths would be halfway between my halves. So there's 3/4, 1/4, and then 2/4. And eighths come in between those, so I can figure out 1/8, 2/8. Here's 3/8. And this last one, 11/12. I didn't try and put in all the twelfths. I know 11/12 is almost 1. It has to be way over here. So here is 11/12. Now select two fractions from part A and use the given number line to compare them by writing the symbols. So I just pick a couple fractions. 1/4 is less than 3/8. You could also have that 3/8 is less than 11/12. You could say 11/12 is more than a fourth. So anything like that is fine. Explain how you plotted the points in part A. I kind of explained that. I found halfway between a half and 0 to the fourth, and then I found the eighths. Just write down something in there that makes sense about how you knew where those fractions went. Okay, number 3, we were talking about those benchmark fractions, which we did talk about a little bit in class way back when we were doing class. And that was that whole idea that we can figure out a lot of times if a fraction is closer to a half, closer to 1, or closer to 0. So with a half and 3/4, we know where a half is, and we know 3/4 is more because 3 is more than half of 4. So we know that one's bigger. And we'll just write 3/4. Dang it. 3/4 is more than 1/2. Half and 7/8. 7/8 is close to 1. I'm just going to write 7/8 is almost 1. 2/3 and 2/5. So I know 2 is more than half of 3. So 2/3 is more than a half. And 2/5, half of 2 is less than half of 5. So 2/5 is less than a half. So since 2/3 is more than a half and 2/5 is less than a half, we need this is more. Okay, I am not going to write all these down anymore so that you don't have to sit and watch me write. I will just say it. 9/10 is almost 1. 3/5, 3 is about half of 5. So 1 is more than, about 1 is more than about a half. 2/3 and 7/8. 7/8 is almost 1. 2/3 is a little more than 2. And 1/3 and 2/4. 2/4 is exactly a half, but 1/3 is less than a half. So this way. And these last couple, 5/10 is exactly a half. 2/3, 2 is a little more than half of 3, so it must be more than a half. 11/12 is almost 1. 2/5 is a little less than a half. 49/100 is almost a half, but just a teeny bit less. And 51/100 is also almost a half, but just a little bit more than a half. And 7/16, 8/16 is exactly a half, so this is a little less than a half. And 51/100 we just said was a bit more than a half. So there you go. There is Lesson 12, Module 5.